Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends. This one's going to focus a little bit on Rammus, who I'm going to be jungling as in this game, but more importantly, we're going to be looking at a game of throws here. Yes, game of throws, although it'll take us until we get towards the end of this video to see that. So we'll get to that in a little bit. In the meantime, I'll go through and highlight who's playing in this game. This was taken from one of our YouTube night games. I'm going to be playing and jungling as Rammus in this game. Alongside me is Wimmy, who's playing as Xerath. Aeloreth, who's playing and supporting as Nami, Blink You Die playing as Vladimir, and Bomb Diggity playing as Vayne. Then on the other side we have Verisnox playing as Tristana Autonomatan, I think that's how that's pronounced, that's a bit of a tongue twister there, is playing and supporting as Fiddlesticks, Bandator is jungling as Lee Sin, Watt to Watt is playing as Katarina, and Croash is going to be playing as Aurelia in this particular match. So before we get into this one, I will just say a few quick words about the last video that I posted because it drew a whole bunch of attention, actually a lot more attention than I was expecting. People really seem to have a lot to say about the video that I put up there, I guess a couple days ago as you watch this. The video on Elo Hell being a state of mind, most people seem to enjoy that video quite a bit. There were also some negative comments. I'll just take a quick minute to address those. Some people seem to think that I was picking on that poor Bronze 5 fellow. Not the case. A lot of people didn't seem to understand the context in which that video was posted. This was one person who had gone on the League of Legends forums, gone into general discussions, and posted a big discussion thread about how he was so much better than everyone else in Bronze Elo, and it was just so gosh darned unfair that all these other people kept holding him back, and you know, he was just stuck in Elo Hell, etc., etc. But he was so much better than everyone else. And, well, I just wanted to look at his game and find out if that was true. And that really did not appear to be the case, basically, from what I could see in that game. And apologies if the video was a bit too snooty and a bit too, a little bit too condescending, patronizing, as people said. That's probably true. But by the same token, what I was trying to showcase in that game was that for most people, being trapped in Elo Hell is a state of mind, and you can't really improve and get better until you manage to work yourself out of that state of mind. Anyway though, so enough about that, let's move on and look at this video. So I'm going to be jungling as Rammus in this game, and Rammus is not really seen as sort of a power jungler option or anything like that. It used to be popular, not really in favor anymore. He's okay. Yes, Rammus, okay. Yes, get the pun there. He's alright as a jungler, nothing special. I mean, he's playable. He does well against heavy AD teams, which this other team is not especially AD heavy. I mean, they have Aurelia, they have Lee Sin, and they have Tristana. So they definitely do have some attack damage. They definitely do have some AD, but I wouldn't say that they're especially so. That's kind of his niche in a team comp right now, is that he's really good at being against sort of a super heavy AD lineup. Like if they have double AD solo lanes and then an AD jungler and then an AD and support bottom lane, he will do pretty well against that because of the way that he stacks armor. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about how to jungle Rammus. I have done videos on that before. I don't think I've done any in Season 3, so the itemization is a little bit different. The skilling order is pretty much the same. But we'll just take a quick look at the lanes again. In top, we have Blink You Die, Splad against Croash's Aurelia. In mid, we have Wimmy playing as Xerath against Watt to Watt playing as Katarina. And we'll get to bottom lane in a minute, but little trap being set here. Bandator is waiting for me to come and do the red buff here. I had no idea that he was sitting in the rush, ready to jump in on this. As Rammus, your strength is not dueling. 1v1, Lee Sin's going to win the duel. Watch this. So Bandator's going to jump in. I was like, oh my god, but Bandator smites way too early. And I'm going to flash and powerball, and that's actually going to get me out of here. So that actually went reasonably well, all things considered. That could have been a lot worse. And then we actually did pick up first blood down in bottom lane while that was going on. Let's just watch the tail end of this fight right now. That Nami heal coming out. The drain is strong. Is it going to be enough, though? It does not look like it. And Bomb's going to pick off the back end of this kill. Meanwhile, now Watt to Watt coming in, Bandator coming in, and let's see if they're going to be able to get out of this one. Cleanse being used by Bomb Diggity, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get away from that red buff Lee. And then Katarina, Watt to Watt's going to clean up the back end of that. Wimmy's going to come down, but a little bit too late. Honestly, needed to follow that a little bit sooner. If he had gotten there, 5 seconds sooner, we might have been able to pull that out. But anyway, it's a 2 for 2 overall. Okay, again, getting back to the jungle Rammus thing, as I said, Rammus's role in a team comp is he's quite good at locking up one member of the enemy team. That's what his taunt does. I mean, that's sort of the whole idea, is he taunts somebody and can force them to attack him. He's one of the few champions in this game that can force someone to can sort of force aggression from the other team, can force people to attack him. Now, that said, how valuable is that really? Well, it can be useful in the right situation, but it's sort of not something that you typically see people build entire teams around. One thing that people have done in Season 3 is they've shifted away from more sort of support jungles and towards more of carry jungle roles. For instance, you see more of things like Vi and Hecarim and so on. So Season 3, the itemization has shifted a little bit more towards carry jungles and away from the sort of pure tank or pure support jungle, so you don't see Alistar jungle anymore, you don't see Cho'Gath jungle as much, and that means that Rammus doesn't really get played quite as much overall. But he does actually have pretty good ganks. He ganks very well with his power ball, gives him crazy movement speed, and his taunt does allow him to lock up one member of the enemy team. So those are sort of his strengths right there. Anyway, there I saw Croash go ahead and jump onto that minion, but my attempt at a gank is sadly lacking up here in the top lane. Anyway, I will talk just briefly about how to jungle with Rammus. I have done this before in other videos, but it's been a while. People may not have seen it. The basic idea is you start with defensive ball curl. You put a point into this at level 1. This is what allows you to become tanky. You don't take much damage when you're jungling. By the way, I'm gonna attempt to go and steal the Wraiths, but Band-Aider gets there at the exact same time. So this is not really going to work. I'm not in any serious danger, but I'm not going to be able to steal that. And by the way, they did not actually have that worded, so not such a, that was more him just being in the right place at the right time. And then I'm going to powerball through mid, but nothing happens. So point in defensive ball curl at level 1. This gives you armor and MR while you pop it. And this works with Rammus's passive. Rammus's passive is he converts 25% of his armor into attack damage. This is why you want to stack armor on Rammus. You get bonus attack damage when you pop the defensive ball curl. Watch, you'll see it come up the next time I use it here when I go to clear a camp. So 1 point in W at level 1, then typically a point into Powerball at level 2. See, the defensive ball curl goes on, armor and MR go up, and attack damage goes up too through that passive. So 1 point in W at level 1, typically a point in Q at level 2 because it lets you move around the map faster. You can also Powerball into camps as a way of clearing them faster. I like to put a point again in W at level 3, and then from that point on, then at level 4, level 5, and then every point other than your ultimate. Try to max Taunt ASAP because Taunt is Rammus's best skill. It just doesn't help him clear the jungle. So you do want to max Taunt as fast as possible. Now we're going to try to set up a fight here in bottom lane. I'm going to try to come in here in the bottom lane, and I'm going to get exhausted, and unfortunately I hit that minion there. I just need to get this taunt off, and I actually don't get the taunt off. Bomb just gets the kill before I even do anything. So Bomb Diggity's Vayne and ALRS Nami are actually doing pretty well down here. And now looking to go in and initiate on Varus Nox again. Just going to be forced to the rocket jump out of there on Tristana. So we were able to get a kill. I didn't really do anything except that they exhausted me. I don't know if that was a misclick and they clicked on Rammus instead of clicking on, clicking on the AD down there. Anyway, Watt to Watt's going to flash out of that Xerath ult, and he's going to survive there. Meanwhile, Band-Aider did a really nice job of this throughout the game. He's going and stealing the blue, and he would actually do this a couple times throughout the game. He was actually there right when the blue, no, not right when it respawned, I guess a minute afterwards, but he got there pretty soon after it respawned. And so here I come, I'm going to come around, and oh, no blue buff to give to Xerath. Very sad. So that was a bit unfortunate there. I should have been more on top of the timer. Should have been on top of the timers. A good jungler will be there. Will know to be at the blue buff right when it's about to respawn and so on and so forth. That was very nice. Well, you get to hear my voice now if you're watching this video, Watt to Watt. Playing on the other team in this game, so of course didn't have the chance to listen to that. Alrighty, so I talked a little bit about the, about the skilling order for Rammus in terms of the build order. Used to experiment a little bit with getting a Madrid's Razor, not a Wriggles, just the Madrid's Razor, but people nowadays seem to like getting the Spirit Stone. Spirit Stone has been buffed since early on in Season 3. Early on in Season 3, no one was really buying it, but it has been buffed since then, so most people now seem to buy the Spirit Stone. You can upgrade it to the Spirit of the Ancient Golem later on, the one that gives health and tenacity, and that seems to be a pretty good fit for Rammus. But this is a good item. Then get a Runic Bulwark / Aegis a little bit later on, And you can, what's the other item that I'm thinking of? You can potentially go for something like Locket, you can go for Randuin's, those are all strong items. Just general tanky items that add health and armor. You can get a Sunfire Cape too, is not a terrible item on Rammus, so all of that sort of thing. You might have noticed, oh, by the way, there's a gank being set up in bottom lane, we'll keep an eye on that. One thing I will mention, I did use my Rammus ultimate to clear that Wraith camp, and you can do that. Rammus ult is on a very short cooldown, it's only 60 seconds, and it's shorter than that if you have the blue buff. So feel free to use it. It's, you know, like I said, it's on a short cooldown, and you can use it to clear camps, you can use it to push minion waves and all that jazz. Anyway, so Lee Sin was down here, it was warded, nice ward coverage by Aeloreth's Nami, and so what we were looking to do is, I'm going to come down here, I was like, okay, well, we can, you know, we can bait a fight down here, and then I'll come in and counter gank this fight. We thought that Lee Sin had left when we were playing this game. We thought that he was gone, because, you know, he had been standing in the brush for a while, and then he left, and we figured he had just gone to his wolf camp or something, but he is actually still here. And so when they go to clear this ward with their pink, that was my signal I was going to move in. The bubble hits on Automaton. I'm going to get the taunt off on him, and the Nami tidal wave will actually get the kill. But the problem is, we didn't realize that Lee was here, and so they're going to go and they're going to turn and pick off these kills. That Jet Dash in is going to get the kill onto Bomb Diggity, and then Band-Aider is going to go in after Aeloreth under the tower. I'm going to get the taunt off. I do have red buff, and oh, the Resonating Strike is going to grab that kill off the back end of that. A little bit unfortunate, and I was hoping to be able to get a kill on Band-Aider's Lee Sin, but he's going to dash out. Watt to Watt comes down, and Wimmy a little bit slow to follow again, unfortunately. See, this is just a little tip here if you're watching this Wimmy. When you see somebody leave, you have to do one of two things. If you're in mid and the mid laner leaves, you do one of two things. Either you follow immediately so you can be there in the fight, or alternately you push mid. You stay in lane and you shove to the tower to force them to miss minions and get damage on mid tower. It's one or the other. But really sort of the weakest option is to stay in lane for like 5 seconds and then come down and get to the fight too late to do anything in the fight, and then not push the lane in mid. Anyway, Watt looks like he wants this kill, but is not quite going to get it. Ignite's going to be a little bit short. And in fact, it looks like Katarina is winning this matchup in mid right now. So anyway, that whole fight in bottom lane, I believe it was a 2-for-1 in their favor. Or it was either 2-for-1. No, it was 2-for-2. We came out 2-for-2. And the game's actually pretty close overall. So I was able to get 1 kill. And Nami got a kill on our team as well. Aeloreth got Nami. By the way, I haven't seen too much of Nami. At some point, I'll have to try to do a Nami video. Aeloreth actually played Nami pretty well in this game, so maybe I could have done the focus on that. But it's easier for me to commentate on what I actually saw while I was playing, and I was watching, you know, I was jungling during this game. Anyway, they are not much, but did get Watt to burn a ward and Shumpo away. Not a big deal, but, well, got him to put it down. We haven't seen too much of top. I haven't been talking about that. It's been relatively even thus far overall. Not much of an advantage on either side. I guess a very slim advantage for Blink You Die, but Croash is starting to stack some magic resist, and that's going to help him out as the game goes on. As far as items, I've rushed Ninja Tabby. It's a good item to rush on Rammus because it gives him more movement speed, and he moves so freaking fast. So we're going to come in here. The fear goes on to me. I'm going to taunt Automaton. The bubble misses from Aeloreth, but they're still not going to be able to get this. And we're basically just ignoring Fiddles at the back end of that, hoping to get a kill on Tristana. We will not get the kill, but we are going to be able to get 1 kill, if not both. I should have said that. So that's just Rammus' strength right there, is they had this warded. They could see me coming, but Rammus Powerball, he moves really fast, especially if you get boots too. When you pop that Powerball, you get up to like, I think it's like 600 or 700 movement speed at the end of it. And even if they can see you coming, there's often not a lot they can do about it. So even if they know that you're there. Anyway, so we've got a dragon fight going on right now. It is a 4-on-3. Band-Aider goes in. I'm going to taunt him. He's going to dash to Tristana right there. We get a nice Nami tidal wave, but we're not really able to follow up on this, unfortunately. So we're going to end up disengaging from that, and I think that that was probably the right decision there, to back off and not engage on that fight further. One weakness of Rammus as a champion is he does not do Dragon or Baron very well at all. He typically does not build Madrid's Razor. You might have noticed that Band-Aider has got the Madrid's Razor, so he's got that, what is it, that chance where it's the 25% chance to deal bonus damage to minions and monsters. So Rammus just, like, he's not very good at killing neutral creeps, or like, the big camps. He's not very good at killing Dragon or Baron, and that is a very real weakness on him. So against a Lee Sin has much, much, much more Dragon and Baron control than Rammus, and like I said, that's just a weakness of him. Anyway, Band-Aider, playing a strong game, has gone in and stolen the blue buff yet again, and I was like, oh, really? Seriously? It's already gone before I could get back here? And that was kind of a nice punishment for us, sticking around Dragon and then not being able to get that. Anyway, they are going to Dragon, and unfortunately, there's just not much we can do about this. I'm going to go to top lane, and we're going to go ahead and gank Croash. We're going to get the kill there, and their team, meanwhile, is going to take Dragon. Now, I knew that they were going to Dragon, knew that they were going here, but Vayne had just died. Bomb Diggity died in bottom lane. And with Lee being so much better at Dragon than Rammus, plus our bottom AD having died, I knew that we could not contest Dragon. So if we can't take Dragon, what can I do? I can go to top lane, and I can try to pull off a gank there, and that's actually what happened. So their team comes out ahead. Like I said, they come out ahead because they got Dragon, and Dragon's worth more than one kill. Unfortunately, Wimmy gets killed again by Wat to Wat. They came out ahead because Dragon's worth more than one kill, but if we couldn't stop them from doing Dragon anyway, it was worth our while to do something top. So we're going to get the kill top and a lot of damage on this tower. So I was pretty happy with how that went, actually. Like I said, could not actually get that Dragon, so make something happen elsewhere. Sorry, I should have shown the play. Basically, I just powerballed in and taunted Croash, and he got CC'd and couldn't really do that much. In the meantime, I'm holding mid, just hanging out here, waiting for Xerath to revive. And I'm just trying to think about where to go next. We've got a Dragon timer. We watched what happened at Dragon. So I'm going to come down here and look to clear red. In the meantime, though, there's a fight in bottom lane. By the way, a great Nami bubble will interrupt the Fiddlesticks drain right there. And now Bomb's going to go in and chase that down. And he will pull off the kill with Vayne. Flashes in. Varusnox uses his cleanse on the Condemned stun, but it wasn't enough. And that bottom lane combo looking pretty good. Bomb Diggity rushed the Blade of the Ruined King, was able to pick that up, used it in that fight. Varusnox's Tristana also now just picking up Blade of the Ruined King, but a little bit too late. And our bottom lane is ahead here. Yeah, is ahead by almost 1,000 gold, so looking pretty strong. Now, Crosh is going to go in, get the initiation with that Equilibrium Strike. I'm a little surprised Band-Aider didn't go in. That kind of would have been a good time to jump in right there, but does not do so. Meanwhile, I'm keeping an eye on mid, and right here, I see that Wat to Wat has no creeps to Shumpo to, so I'm going to taunt him. Now out comes the stun from Wimmy, and together, should be enough to finish that off. Yes, we will get it with that Arcano Pulse. Even with the ward going down, not enough to survive that. Meanwhile, the dive comes out in top lane, and that will be enough to get a kill. Sorry, could not show both of those at the same time. I would like to go back and rewind and show both, but the last time I tried to do that, it just crashed the LoL replay client, and I believe that that's still a bug they haven't worked out, so just have to take my word for it. A nice dive up there in top lane, and then yeah, long taunt. Well, this is why you max taunt first. It is a 3-second taunt, and by the way, taunt also does reduce armor by 30. A lot of people don't realize that it is a armor reduction as well. So what was that? So let me talk then about how that play was set up. So I had been down here around Wraiths. I saw that there was no minion wave for Katarina to Shunpo onto. This is something you have to keep in mind if you want to gank Katarina, is she can blink backwards or forwards or wherever with Shunpo, but the weakness of Shunpo is it does need a target to jump to. See, it's no cost, but you do need to have a target. So the fact that there was no minion wave, no creeps behind Katarina, she couldn't jump backwards. She couldn't really escape the power ball, and Wat to Wat may not have even seen it coming. Looks like he just did not have the reflexes to get a ward jump off fast enough. So roll in taunt, and then followed up by the Mage Chain stun on Xerath, and that actually was a fairly easy kill. So anyway, if you're going to gank Katarina, keep that in mind. And anyway, there's the Deathfire Grasp initiation coming out from Wat to Wat. He's still winning this lane pretty hard in mid. I'll just highlight that again in middle lane. He has ahead by about 1,300 gold in mid, so that's a fairly sizable lead. Now anyway, there's a fight breaking out in bottom lane. Lee Sin has come down to this lane and is trying to gank this. Meanwhile, I'm going to now break off doing that creep camp to try to come into the fight. Going to jump in there. I get knocked backwards twice by Lee Sin kick and also by Tristana Buster Shot, but Bomb Diggity is just DPSing. I'm going to taunt. Well, unfortunately, I taunt Fiddlesticks. That was a poor choice to go after. Should have taunted Lee or Tristana. And now I'm trying to chase after this. Again, I'm going to use Powerball. That will slow. I have red buff. Auto attack slow as well. I get off the taunt, and that together is going to be enough to get the kill on Lee. Now we're on Varusnox, and looks like we're about to die. but we will pick up that kill as well. So 3 for 1. Now, Wat to Wat coming down once again, so we're going to have to try to survive this, and oh, this is looking really, really bad. Aeolrath is surely going to die, but watch, I'm going to slow it down first, the taunt, then the Nami Q, and oh, the bubble knocks Wat to Wat up in the air, and oh my goodness, that was just really one of the plays. Taunt into that Nami Aqua Prison. So fun to do. That was really the highlight of the evening for me when we were playing those games. So nicely done right there. You can use Rammus Taunt, which is point and click CC, to set up a skill shot like the Nami Aqua Prison, like her bubble. So for me, that was a lot of fun, and actually having a pretty solid game here on Jungle Rammus at 306. I actually did end up rushing for the Locket in this game. Just a useful item overall on lots of junglers. Lots of supports too, but I mean, look at what it gives Rammus. It gives him health, it gives him armor. You always want armor on Rammus. Cooldown reduction, health regen in the jungle. I mean, it's just a good item, and then it has that shield active as well. So just a useful all-around item right there. Anyways, our blue buff up. Yes, for the first time, our blue buff is finally up, and I will finally be able to give this over to Wimmy, and that's probably partly why Wimmy's had a little bit of a rough going in this lane, is because the blue buff's been stolen so many times. By the way, we'll highlight Band-Aider on Lee Sin having a very good game as well. 4-1-2. Doing quite well. In fact, if you look at our gold total, he is actually ahead of me by about 350, 400 gold, something like that. And the game overall is just about dead even. Now, we have more kills, but their team has the dragon and just has an advantage in farm overall. If you look at the lane in mid, they have the biggest advantage in farm. So, good game going here. Pretty close. It's really anyone's game for the taking right now. Anyway, dragon is spawned. Wow, they had a ward here. Did not realize that. Yeah, see, we cannot see this ward with our pink, but they can see that we are in the process of doing dragon. So, looks like we might have another fight right here. The ward goes down. We're going to kill that. So, who is going to be able to claim this one? As the jungler, I want to be trying to watch for smite. I want to be trying to make sure that I can get this. Anyway, though, Fiddlesticks is going to ult in, and meanwhile, we're going to look, and we want to try to finish off Tristana. We are going to get that. By the way, another nice Nami tidal wave right there. Meanwhile, we're going to continue fighting this, but Katarina has entered the fight, and it's just not going that well for us. I want to try to get to Fiddlesticks. I'm going to flash and then taunt. That will get that kill, but Wat to Wat will pick off another kill on the back end of it. Now, Blink You Die has come down from top, so has Croash. So right now, it is a 2 for 2, but our team is not in particularly great position. Their team is sort of in a stronger position overall. And it looks like this is going to be an inconclusive dragon fight on the whole. Both teams are low. Neither one of us can really do this. So, once again, the game is going to remain close. It was a good Fiddlesticks ult in that fight. Really well played by Autonomatan. And aside from that, it was just a whole lot of action. I couldn't quite see. Xerath was not able to get into a safe position. Wat to Wat was able to jump on Wimmy and engage on him at close range. Xerath, wants to stay back at a distance, and they did a good job of not letting that happen in that fight. Bum did a lot of damage. Varus did a lot of damage. Couldn't really tell too much who came out on top in that. I believe that they both died in the course of that fight, but they were the main target on both teams, definitely. So anyway, Dragon is still up, still sitting there, and still up for really either team to go grab. It's just a matter of who's going to be able to make a play there first. Elsewhere, if you look around at items, more items coming out on both sides. Let's see what's been finished. Katarina now has a needlessly large rod. Irelia is most of the way to Blade of the Ruined King, has the cutlass, and seems to be building towards that. Vlad has the Seeker's Arm Guard. What is it? Yes, Seeker's Arm Guard is the name of that skill. Has the Haunting, the Hextech Revolver and the Haunting Guys. And yeah, Crash saying, I hate your sustain. Well, that's always the challenge of playing against Vlad, is he is going to sustain and sustain and sustain. And it looks like both sides are really just waiting for the next big fight. Anyway, that's a nice Aqua Prison on to Fiddlesticks. And then the Harass coming out. What is the name of the Nami W? Ebb and Flow. I don't know the names of all of these newer skills and the newer champions, the ones who don't get played as much. Ebb and Flow. Interesting. Well, they are setting up for another gank down here in bottom lane. Let's keep an eye on this and see what happens. Anyway, I am apparently walking past a ward because more and more and more pings are coming out. And watch, I'm going to try to clear this ward, but watch, the jump in from Lee Sin and then the dragons kick over the wall, and I was like, oh no, this is bad because I don't have flash up. And, oh, I thought that I had used defensive wall curl. Apparently I had not. Nami Tidal was going to try and save me, but it's not going to be enough. And that went really well for them. That was just a really slick play. to do the ward jump over the wall and then the kick backwards. And apparently I thought that I did not have defensive ball curl up, but apparently I actually did. So that was just a misplay. Did not have flash up. It was used in that last team fight. So their team is going to get the key breakthrough, and they are going to claim that dragon that was so heavily contested. So once again, big props to Band-Aider. That was a really slick play, and just very well done on the whole. Anyway, they look like they're trying to bait. Here comes the Fiddlesticks ult. They're going to bait that down in bottom lane. Varus knocks, Rocket jumps in with Tristana, but they might be able to get out of this. Anyway, there's the fear coming out, and that fear just lasts forever on Fiddlesticks. But yeah, everyone going to be able to disengage from that, and Bomb Diggity and the Yellow Earth are going to make it out okay, when it looked like they were going to be in a bad situation. And meanwhile, Blinky is still farming in top lane, and he's actually got a pretty nice minion kill advantage, although I think the gold total is very close. Yeah, the gold total in top lane is still very close, but that tower will help us out, and the game is still quite close, about 1.5k in favor of their team. Now, I'm coming down here to try to save this tower, but I did not realize that Lee Sin's kick was already up, so I'm going to get repositioned by that, and then Fiddlesticks is going to keep fearing me, and now I'm trying to powerball out, but again, that fear, so long, and just going to get chain CC'd underneath that tower. And yeah, that was just a very poor play. Thought that I could hold the tower there by popping, the Rammus ult, and that just wasn't the case. Too much crowd control, and another very nice Lee Sin kick. So two rather needless deaths here, really given away to the enemy team. And at this point, I was saying, okay, that Fiddlesticks fear is way too long. I need to get some tenacity. I need to turn the Spirit Stone into the, Spirit of the Ancient Golem, or whatever it's called. I need to get the item with tenacity ASAP, because this fear duration is just absolutely destroying me in these last two fights. Well, the last two times I kind of got caught. I guess you couldn't even call them fights. We did have a kill in mid a second ago, by the way. Another nice bubble right there. Another nice Aqua Prison. It looks like this tower is about to go down. It is very low. Another fear coming out. But that tower will go down, and so that makes it 2-1 in towers, and still about a 2,000 gold difference in this game in sort of the larger picture. So at this point, the next big thing, Dragon will be up again in 3 minutes or so, but the next big objective is increasingly going to be that Baron, now that we're getting into sort of the mid to late games, and we really want to keep an eye on who's going to be able to secure that one. In terms of Rammus's stuff, I will just highlight this again, since we're sort of getting into the middle to late portion of the game. Again, I mentioned that you want to max Taunt, this is sort of the first skill max. After that, it's more of a judgment call. Some people like to max Powerball. I've always thought that 1 point in Powerball is enough. You get a little bit more of a speed boost and a little bit more of a slow effect from more points in this, but I've always thought that 1 point kind of is enough for this. Whereas defensive ball curl increases your armor and MR, and then of course via your passive. Look, I actually have 170 attack damage when defensive ball curl's on. So it will also increase your clearing speed in the jungle just by virtue of Rammus's passive. So I like to max this second. This is what makes Rammus tanky. Gives him 120 extra armor and 120 MR by maxing this skill. And by the way, note that there is a damage ratio. It's actually an armor-based ratio. The more armor you have, the more magic damage returned when you use defensive ball curl. I believe that it's an armor ratio. It could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's based off of armor. So I like to max this second, and I've always found that one point in Powerball is enough for jungling purposes. But some people I know like to max Q second. Still, pretty universal agreement. Well, that was really sad. I wanted to give that to Vayne, but a crit and then an auto attack hitting at the same time cost us that buff transfer. But yeah, anyway, that's the way I look at it. And of course, you always skill the ultimate when it's up, and still on a short cooldown. Anyway, I've got the Locket, I have the Ninja Tabby, and I picked up Aegis. On this particular game against this team, don't really need Runic Bulwark that badly. I will get it eventually, but Aegis is actually enough against this team because they really don't have that much in the way of magic damage. It's pretty much Katarina is the source of magic damage. Now, Cat's a real threat, but it's sort of the main one there. Anyway, I'm going to Powerball in, and going to use that for the initiation. They're going to manage to disengage from this, but it will back them off the tower. And that should be enough for us to grab this one. Rammus is very good at initiating. That's one of his strengths. Meanwhile, Tristana and Fiddlesticks were pushing bot. They're on their way up here now, and their team's pinging it like they want to engage. So we may be in the process of seeing a big fight here. I honestly do not remember if this turned into a big fight when the game was going on. I'm going back to base because I want to pick up... I think I was getting the Giant's Belt here. Yeah, getting the Giant's Belt towards Spirit of the Ancient Golem, or whatever that item's called. And no, there's actually not going to be a fight, so apologies for getting anyone's help up. So to this point in time, the game, you could say, it's like, well, I mean, it's been a close game, but there hasn't been really anything all that exciting in the game that's gone on. But, oh, just you wait, my friends, followers of the channel. You're about to see some of the fireworks in this game are coming up soonish. So just hang in there, and you shall see a little bit later on. Right there, I was trying to initiate, but I powerballed into a minion, and that was kind of stupid. Note that there's no tower here, though. So if I can get a speed boost, I can actually get a speed boost from Nami and her passive if she heals me. If I can get a speed boost, there is the potential just to roll in on their members of the team, taunt somebody, and force a fight that way. If we can take, say, Tristana or take, say, Katarina out of the fight, then we could probably clean one up. Although, of course, with Vayne being bot, we're not going to look to be forcing a fight. That's a really nice bubble, though, and Xerath gets off a nice little bit of damage right there. So Watt the Watt's going to go in. I'm going to taunt him to try to taunt him out of whatever he was doing. Now the tidal wave comes out. It's going to knock up most members of their team. It's a nice dash from Band-Aider, but oh, Vayne is right there too. That's not what you want. So Vayne is chasing and should be able to finish that up. There goes down that kill. Meanwhile, the fight is still going on. Tristana Buster Shot being used on me, but I'm going to get the taunt off, and this is what Rammus excels at doing, locking up one target on the enemy team. So that's going to work out. We did lose Xerath in that fight, but now we're still chasing up on this fight. And yeah, we're in really good position right now. Just went 3 for 1 in that fight. One thing that happened there was Vlad did come down from top lane. Aurelia did not. So we were able to force a little bit of a 4v5. And Watt the Watt's Katarina has played a strong game, but got caught a little bit behind the tower. Was able to get a taunt off very quickly on Katarina, blow her up. A great tidal wave from Aelorus Nami, knocking most of them up in the air. And so one really bad fight has cost their team 2 towers and an inhibitor. Just an example of how one big fight can really swing the game, and now our team is in a very strong position here. By gold, it's still close, but positionally on the map, we've got a huge advantage now with the inhib being down, and we should be able to claim this dragon fairly easily. We just can't, we just can't waste our time. Aelroth's getting out of here. So we see Fiddlesticks coming in. We know he's on his way. Watt the Watt's coming in as well. But Dragon is low, and Bomb's going to stop DPSing it. I kind of needed him there. So anyway, I'm going to turn in. Oh, this is actually the wrong way to run, but oh, Rammus Powerball is fast. Fast Rammus is fast, and we'll get out of there. I'm a little surprised their team didn't just dash in and engage on me. I think Aurelia could have gotten off a dash and then an Equilibrium Strike, but no, they decided not to go for it. And their team is not rushing Baron, which was the #1 fear of our team. So we're going to go back, we're going to buy, and make use of that gold that our team just got. And with the inhib down, that lane's going to push, and that'll make it easier for us to secure objectives in the side lane and look towards doing Baron. What I've picked up now, as I said, I wanted to get Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so here you go. Health, armor, health and mana regen. Still has that Butcher passive that all of the jungling items have. And then the Tenacity, so basically the same as Merc Treads. Reduce the duration of stun, slows, taunt, fear, silence, blinds, and immobilizes by 35%. And that is really directed against Fiddlestick's fear. Again, you can make the argument that Fiddlestick shouldn't be taunting me. He should be fearing someone more important. But that fear is just so deadly. Really want to get some kind of Tenacity, whether that's Merc Treads or, in this case, whether that's Spirit of the Ancient Golem. And let's face it, what else am I really going to turn that Spirit Stone into anyway? I'm not going to turn into the Lizard or the Wraith versions, because I don't need AD and I don't need AP, and I don't need Spell Vamp, certainly, on Rammus. So not really much else to turn it into, and then that lets me get Ninja Tabby instead of Merc Treads, which is actually pretty useful in a game like this, because Tristana's very heavily reliant on auto attacks. So Ninja Tabby is actually a pretty good item choice for this game overall. Anyway, though, so the gold total is even. Like I said, our team has a positional edge on the map, but in terms of actual gold, it's quite close. At this point, then, the focus is really shifted around Baron, and, one big team fight could very well decide the game. If we can win one more sort of big fight, catch them out of position, catch them off guard, they now has red buff, we can catch them off guard, we should be able to just finish off the game, because, we've got an inhib down, we've got the super minions in the middle lane. All we really need to do is get one good team fight, and we should be able to swing this one. Anyway, so there's the fear, but note that the duration is much slower, or much, not nearly as long. And again, they don't have a tower here, so if we can just go in and taunt somebody here, I'm just looking to get someone, and I get that Nami pass, so I'm going to walk in, I'm going to taunt Tristana, and that's who I'm trying to go after. But the problem is Vlad is actually not with us here, So Watt the Watt is going to go in. He's going to get 1 kill. That's going to get turned into a reset for him. Now this fight is just not going very well. It looked like a good initiation, but now it's gone sour in a real hurry. I'm just trying to get out of this fight at this point. Was not able to get the kill on the Tristana, and I will not make it out right there. Nami just limping out of here. Blink You Die trying to get a kill on somebody, but what looked like a good initiation just went horribly wrong because we were not able to kill Tristana. Blink is going to get 1 kill, and then he's going to Zanya's, but this is not going to save him right here. He will get Varus Nox low, but that is not going to be enough in that fight. Leandri's passive ticking, or no Leandri, is not going to work. So that looked like a really good fight for us, but it turned into a disaster, and only the fact that the side lanes were pushing so hard really stopped that from being worse. It was a situation that I thought would be a good fight. Their team was kind of like walking around here, and again, they have no towers, so we could roll in and engage. And my thought was if I can just roll in and initiate onto Tristana, that we can just blow her up at the start of the fight, and then, you know, we'll win the team fight off of that. But did not realize that Vlad was way down here on bottom lane and was not in that fight. And I think that that was probably the biggest reason why that went so poorly for us, which it did, of course. We got cleaned up in the fight. That said, it didn't change too much in the overall complexion of the game. Their team got about a 2,000 gold edge in that fight, whereas before it was even. Other than that, not too much really changed, although they will now be able to stall out the rest of the time on their inhibitor being down. That's sort of the other big thing. But Baron is still up. You know, Baron is just still chilling there in the Baron pit. Not much going on. Just waiting for someone to claim Baron, and Dragon's about to respawn too. So again, game is still waiting there to be taken by somebody on the other team. Here, I'm looking to Powerball in, and once again, I'm going to run into the minion. We did know their team was a little bit split. Katarina was in top lane. We're hoping to just catch somebody, just hope that maybe you can Powerball and catch someone in one of these fights. Again, their inhib's about to respawn. There it is, and again, trying to catch someone in one of these fights, and not quite going to be able to do that in this particular engagement. So this is very daring by us. Fiddlesticks is being zoned out of this fight a little bit though. So you know, we're trying to get the inhib, and we really want to try to focus on, you know, one of the key members of their team. I'm going to go in. I actually try to taunt Tristana. Do not get her. Get Lee Sin instead, and I will get blown up. But we are going to manage to turn around and kill Lee Sin in the process, so the two junglers are both dead. And now Bomb Diggity is going to get the kill on Watt the Watt, and now a great tidal wave is going to allow Bomb to get the kill onto Tristana, and now we're in really good shape because we've just killed 3 members of the team, and the only one that we lost was me, Rammus. So this game should be over. We've got super minions here. It just hit the Nexus towers and finished off the game. I mean, Fiddlesticks is going to ult in, but he's going to get condemned by Vayne. Croash will dive in, but it should be easy. I mean, we should be able to save Vayne here, and no, unfortunately not going to be able to. Blink is chasing it. Oh, Blink, turn around and just kill Croash. Wimmy, use a skill. Why is he auto-attacking? And they're finally going to get that. But that was very poorly played. Oh, with Blink, you just need to stay with us. And Wimmy, I guess the skills were on cooldown. And now Blink dives into the fountain. And oh my goodness, what is going on? Just hit the Nexus towers. Oh my goodness gracious. So, that, I mean, this game was over. If everyone just stays and protects Vayne, everyone just needed to stay on Vayne and protect her when Croash dived in. Just kill Aurelia, kill the Nexus towers, and the game's over. I mean, that's it. The game is literally over. There's nothing more to be said, but that didn't happen. Just did not happen. And, yeah, somehow allowed Vayne to die, and then allowed Aelreth to die. Just very poor play. Everyone needed to stick together, and so that was a huge mistake, and their team did lose their inhib, did lose a Nexus tower, lost one of the 2. Also lost a tower in bottom lane, also lost a tower in top lane. But, I mean, their team is, you know, still really close. It's 55.9k on both sides. And, you know, the game is not over. So, game successfully thrown? Well, we shall see, perhaps. Maybe yes, maybe no. So, Baron is still up, and it's still an issue of contention for both teams. Their team's going to check the Baron. We'll go ahead and clear the ward that they have on it. But only just now is everyone revived. Only just now have Vlad and Nami revived and come back. So it's going to be, again, still an issue of who's going to be able to capture this. And are we going to be able to make use of the fact that the super minions are still pushing in top, or excuse me, still pushing in mid lane, and, you know, they don't have a Nexus tower here to defend it. So that is the hope, that if we can just put pressure on Baron, you know, we don't necessarily have to do Baron, but if we can keep pressure on it, then make it difficult for them to, you know, hold this middle lane. We saw Katarina down here in bottom lane, and we said, well, you know what, we should really force a fight in here around Baron. And, you know, we have a Vayne with Blade of the Ruined King. We should be able to kill this thing pretty fast. Really should be able to do that. Again, Tristana's not here, and Katarina is not here. So, again, we just really need to, you know, burst down Baron quickly before they can get here. But when it gets very low, and oh no, that's really bad. They're going to pull off the smite steal. I missed the smite. And then Katarina and Tristana are going to get there at the last second in the cleanup phase. Kat is going to get 10,000 resets off of all that. And oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is not good. That is not good at all. As the infinite number of G's start coming out from Bomb Diggity. And yeah, that was just an example of their team got there just at the right moment, came in. Really nice steal from Band Aider. I was sitting there as Rammus with the cursor ready to smite Baron. And you might notice the smite never went off because Band Aider must have gotten it off before I did. Was watching the health, but just either must have clicked it too late, and Band Aider got off the smite at the right moment. So Baron successfully stolen. Watt the Watt jumped in, and he just cleaned house with a triple kill right there. And oh my goodness, now a game that was well and truly in the bag is suddenly swung dramatically in favor of the red team, and they're looking very strong with Baron on 3 members of their team. Everyone, it's on Lee, it's on Katarina, and it's on Aurelia on their team. And yes, their base is in a lot of trouble. They still have an inhib down, so that's going to buy my team a little bit of time. Inhib is down, but they have Baron, and they can easily stall this out, keep killing the super minions, and then be ready to push out and look to counter push against our team. So a game that, like I said, felt like it was pretty much in hand. It really was over for all intents and purposes, is now suddenly very much in trouble. Wow, did I really not kill that little Wraith? Huh. Guess I didn't see that. So we will try to make the most of a bad situation by coming down here and trying to kill this dragon. But that's not going to make up for, you know, losing Baron. That is definitely not going to be enough to offset that. In terms of items on Rammus, I will just highlight them real quickly. Picked up the Giant's Belt, have now finished Runic Bulwark, picked up the Giant's Belt, and that is intended to go towards, I believe, a Randuin's Omen, which of course gives more health and more armor. So, standard stuff. In the meantime, our team can't really do too much other than try to wait until their team pushes and try to catch them out. We don't really want to fight out away from a tower. We'd like to fight them if they try to dive us or something like that. But it's not looking too good here for Team Blue in this game. Not looking too great. Their team really has the advantage. Their inhib has now respawned, and that's going to mean that they can push out. If you look at the items that they've got, Aurelia now has, what is it, just finished a Wit's End. I'm not a huge fan of this Aurelia build. I would have liked to have seen something like Zephyr instead of Wit's End, but it's not bad. It's certainly pretty tanky with that Warmogs and most of a Sunfire. Lee Sin also has the Warmogs, Locket, Last Whisper, Black Cleaver. That is a very strong Lee Sin. Yeah, 2,500 gold ahead of me in this game, and I thought I was doing pretty decently as Rammus, but just a very strong Lee Sin game. Katarina, the Death Cap, the Deathfire Grasp, the Zanyas, the Guardian Angel is a bit of an odd decision for the, a little surprised by that, but she does have to jump in. She does have to, you know, jump, you know, put herself in melee range. Still, I think that there might have been better choices there. Maybe something like a Haunting Guise / Leandries is very good on her. Gives her more health, that sort of thing. Rylai's, if you want that, Abyssal, all good items that make you tankier, or at least give you more health and also add AP. And then Varus Noxus Tristana has a disgusting amount of items, is on a 5-item build, and is very scary. Even Fiddlesticks almost has a Zanya's Hourglass. So we're going to try to hold this tower. I was hoping to, almost. I was hoping to go in there and get a taunt off on Tristana, but could not quite get there at the last minute. So they still have Baron. It's still have quite a bit of time left on Baron. We're just hoping to wait until their Baron runs out before fighting them here, and hoping that they will do something stupid like dive us under the tower, and that we'll be able to make a play off of that. But I mean, that poke from Trist is just really, really strong. By the way, good positioning from Automaton, hanging out here behind the wall. That's really good position for Fiddlesticks. And we do not have a ward over here, which we really should. What we should have is we should have a ward like right here, in case they try to flank us from that side, and we need a ward here. And I guess that we just didn't have that. Aelroth doesn't appear to have any wards, and I could have bought some as Rammus. That could have been picked up a little bit better. Anyway, right there, we do get the bubble catch on one member of their team. I couldn't see who that was. And again, we're hoping to be able to catch someone. Right here, I'm going to go in and try to taunt. I can't see. I think I did get Tristana, but the Fiddlesticks ult comes over the wall. It's another nice tidal wave. Now, I'm just going to try to flash out of this. We're trying to hold the tower. Oh, yes, that's right. Bomb Diggity disconnected right when the fight started, and that was really sad. So we're doing our best. Blink is healing like a madman here in this fight, and look how low everybody on their team is. But it's not quite going to be enough. Oh, the red health bars everywhere. Everyone on their team is so low. And that was really sad because Bomb disconnected right as the fight started. And I really do feel like we would have won that fight if Bomb Diggity had been alive, you know, if we had had Vayne. I mean, look how close we came even without Vayne being alive. So they are sustaining Fiddlesticks Drain, Lifesteal, but, you know, this one's just very sad. So a game that we really could have won, really should have won, but it just didn't happen. And now their team is pushing into the base, and in goes Varusnox, boom, down goes Nami. Aelroth will fall. The mid tower is about to fall. The mid inhib looks like it's about to fall. And yeah, just kind of a sad game in this one, that this one could be thrown. So their team could potentially back if they wanted to be sort of super safe. Instead, they're going to keep pushing. They should be able to finish this off. But oh, what's this? What's this? Their team suddenly stops DPSing the Nexus towers to start fighting. And oh wow, now Wimmy's revived. And wait a second, now I've revived, and Varus is hitting the Nexus, but no one else is hitting the Nexus. Why did they not hit the Nexus? It's on 400 HP. Varus goes down. Automaton, the only one still left alive, and Vayne is now chasing. And are we going to be able to pick off this kill too? And oh, what is going on here? And yes, he will go down. And what the... There are now 4 members of their team dead. Why, oh why, oh why did their team not just hit the Nexus? It got so low, but... For whatever reason, nobody else hit the Nexus, and now we've got a good 35 to 40 seconds to play around with. The inhibitors respawn, but that's okay. We don't have minions, but again, that's okay. We don't need minions. We just have to kill this inhib, and there's only one Nexus turret because we killed the other one earlier. So we got a big old tank in the form of Rammus that can sit there and soak up damage. We've got Vayne up. All we need to do is just hit the tower, hit the Nexus, and... Are we actually seriously going to win this? So Crush goes in, I will taunt, and then out comes the stun from Wimmy, and this should be enough. Sure, are we going to get this? Are we going to get this? Crush is doing everything in his power, but no, we'll not be able to get that. Bomb is just outputting so much damage, and now we actually do have some minions. Band-Aider's reviving. 5 seconds on Trist reviving. The Nexus is getting very low. I'm going to get the taunt off on Band-Aider, but we're correctly hitting the Nexus, and yes, it will go down. Bomb Diggity on 100 health. I'm on 100 health, but wow, as another explosion goes off for some reason. Must be an issue with the client, but yeah, wow, I mean, what a finish to that game. We just managed to finish that off before their whole team revived again. And that is one of the craziest endings I've ever seen. Just the throws, and then the counter throws, and then the counter throws, if that's even a thing. So... wow, not much more to say other than that. Both teams had easy opportunities to end the game that they were not able to take advantage of. Our team had the game won, and our team tower dove, and we didn't protect Vayne. And then their team had the game won, and they jumped in and stole Baron, and all they had to do was hit the Nexus. And for whatever reason, they didn't hit the Nexus, and it was down to 400 health, and it didn't die. But wow, I mean, hard to believe, but yeah. Able to counter push and then steal this one for a win. Poor Varus was very unhappy at the end of this one, just because I mean they had that one gift wrapped and weren't able to take advantage of it. So game of throws indeed. Game of throws indeed. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed the crazy finish to this one. Hope you're enjoying the videos on the channel. Anyway, we will do more custom games this week on Wednesday. Hope to see some of you there. If not, have a great week. Take care. See you again soon.